Hi guys, me and Rachel are here today. What are we
Hello.
what are we here today to do, Rachel? We're here to discuss the mysteries and the secrets of the Scorpio moon.
Yes, as we have this upcoming full moon in Scorpio on what is it, Saturday? When is it? Saturday?
No, it's actually on Monday, but I did it on
Oh,
Saturday because a lot of people don't like to come and do hypnosis typically, like during the week. They prefer to do it, late at night on a weekend. So I was like, we're just gonna do it on Saturday. But the moon will be in Scorpio.
early degrees. Yeah. So we have this. So we decided to come together, and you had this brilliant idea to talk about Scorpio moon.
I
Well,
do because I feel like having the moon in Scorpio, knowing people with the moon in Scorpio, even like people want to know that experience, but also in sharing that experience of what it's like to like live with that energy, be that the Scorpio moon, be that an eighth house moon, Pluto person, like we can assist people in feeling comforted in the sense that they're not alone, for one thing, but also like we can help people in understanding potentially some of the strong feelings that they could be getting within the next coming days.
with the transit. Yeah, it's interesting because as a Scorpio moon, I've enjoyed, when I was studying astrology and on YouTube and things like that, watching the videos about Scorpio moon because they're like, yeah, yeah, exactly. Or,
Is that, I have to ask you, is that how you found me?
yep.
Oh my God, it was. It was this. That was so bad.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I think I had joined Astrology Rebels, but then I think, at that time I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I mean, this was when my Jupiter return. And so I was watching, getting into astrology and all this stuff more on a student level versus just, reading books and whatever. But and yeah, so I saw some of your videos, so I really, connected with it. And then, I don't know if it was during or before or after, in Astrology Rebels that we connected. But yeah, I mean,
I can actually remember the instance. It was on a post in Astrology Rebels, and I remember you even telling me that you had watched one of my videos. I couldn't remember which one, but it makes sense that it would be the Moon and Scorpio one. But it's funny because it's that Scorpio thing, right? Like when I look back to where I was when I made those videos, which was like my mid-20s ish, like literally that's how long ago it was. Like I was a completely different person from an emotional perspective than who I am now.
oh wow, that's really interesting. So, do you think with time and as you age, maturity, things like that, how has that expression of Scorpio moon changed for you?
Oh my God, Rachel. Come on, you're asking me this question. You know the answer to this question because you are also a Scorpio moon. Like, weren't you crazy when you were young? I was, but I have moon Pluto too. And so I used to, like, it used to scare me how intense I would feel when I was like a teenager. Like, to the point that I explained this to somebody the other day, and it's like how I always explain, like, moon Pluto, Scorpio moon, eighth house moon energy. It's like The Exorcist. Like, that chick on The Exorcist, she like spins her head around, like, spits out green goo. Like, that's what we do from an emotional perspective. We have to purge.
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I especially as a young child, there was temper tantrums and things like that. But my expression of that was more of a depression. It was,
Mm.
it wasn't an anger thing for me. It was just more of like a heaviness of life and of life experiences. So, finding a way to navigate through that, Moon Uranus, with whatever life experiences had occurred, and like finding a way to heal through that or go through that was only through my spirituality, through
Hmm.
and my, self-help books and Wayne Dyer books, and maybe that's the intellectual part of that moon aspect, where the needing the information to process through emotions, to find ways to reprogram my way of thinking, because I think the thinking affects a lot of our, so not that the intensity of life experiences has diminished. I mean, we all experience, and I'm not saying, oh, Scorpio moon is the most intense, but it's just the way I've felt it, but at least there's a way of navigating through it in a more conscious way than in a way of like shutting myself down, or shutting people out, or closing off, or being afraid of it or running from it. It's like an embracing and knowing the power inherent within me that's connected to something higher to help me through whatever difficult, heavy emotion or experiences that come up that are affecting me.
I was just like talking today about how I feel like, especially as I've got older and, being an astrologer and all of that stuff, like I am really, really even emotionally. Like, I don't feel those intense feelings that I used to feel. And a lot of that is because I have people that come to me and share very intimate parts of their lives. And like, I will cry with them. And I feel like sometimes I cry for people, but I don't often have that feeling anymore in my own life. Like, it's not like I don't feel things intensely. I do. But I feel like when I was younger, to be completely, like, brutally honest, and I think that anybody with a Scorpio moon would appreciate this, like, I was toxic when I was younger with that Scorpio moon energy. Like, I definitely, as a moon Pluto person, like, I did and exhibited all of the horrible traits of Scorpio, like possessiveness, distrust, all of that, like, horribly when I was younger. I wouldn't say I was ever revenge seeking. That was never something that was like a big staple of who I was, thank God. But like I was definitely like very distrusting to people. Like I didn't let anybody in. And I'm not like that anymore. Like I have my people who I feel like I can share my life with and like I feel safe with. And I feel like that's really important. Like as a Scorpio moon or eighth house moon or moon Pluto person, like you need those like eighth house Pluto Scorpio individuals in your life so that you can feel safe in your expression.
Oh, completely. It seems like only Scorpio can handle Scorpio sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, and again, it's not the same intensity like, when we're younger, and it's not as prolonged, but there are life experiences with the Scorpio archetype that are death, transformation,
Hmm.
having, so it's not easy to navigate through, but having people that you can be real with that can hold space or that could be present with it or not be running away from their own shit. If someone's running away from their own stuff, then they're not going to be open to yours, and you are going to be too much or too heavy, or they won't be available, or they don't know what, or they're not going to acknowledge, or whatever it is. So having, it doesn't have to be another Scorpio moon. It doesn't even have to be Scorpio energy. I mean, just that Pluto, maybe a positive, conscious Pluto connection, or maybe I don't know, but I don't know if you want to speak about that or kind of
Well,
go.
the moon in Scorpio is in fall, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, like, we naturally, like, do not feel like other people. Like, we have to nurture ourselves in ways that are very different from other moon signs. So it's not like this, this sounds kind of sad in a way, but it's not like I can gauge, and maybe that's my Piscean and Neptunian energy. Like I can gauge whether or not somebody can like handle what I'm about to give them. But really at this point, like anybody in my life that I'm close to, like can. Like that's just it's kind
Yeah.
of a staple. Like they have to be able to. But I don't see it as a bad thing. Like I'm just like they're not that person. Like this person just can't handle that level of intensity. And I don't mean that like there's anything wrong with them either. It's just it's life. Like we are different. We're a different breed.
Yeah, and that's everybody's different journey, right? But it's nice when you can have that connection with someone that can be like, I get it. Or, and maybe that's why, going back to the YouTube videos, it's like, oh, okay, you get it too. So, I'm not the only weirdo here, living in this different world and not being understood. And you're, and all the different expressions of how our, the moon can come out regarding, because of different aspects to it or placements or even your sun and Mercury and right, all that stuff affects the how the expression may show up, or but there's still like a relatedness of feeling misunderstood or feeling the intensity and being told you're too much or you shouldn't feel, or having to hide
Too
that.
much. Too much is the biggest one. And you know what's crazy to me? Like working with people, like I said, like I have a lot of people that definitely, share very intimate details of their lives with me. And that is not something I would ever repeat or anything like that, which is another beautiful facet of Scorpio. But It's funny to me kind of when people are like, this is like so much because we make people feel comfortable in that expression because we're like, throw your ugly at us. Like, do it. Like, give us your ugliest. Like, we can handle it because we felt it before. And I'm just like, you can like say anything to me and I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to shame you. Like, I do not care. All the vast spectrum of human expression is completely safe with me.
Yeah, exactly, because you understand it within yourself. Now there's those, those that avoid that within themselves or judge that and that aren't conscious with it, even at Scorpio, and then that's where it can be toxic, to yourself and to others.
You think that oh yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Like there are Scorpio moons that don't feel like free in that expression. Like they like they used I don't know, they judge it too much, like you said. So
Mm-hmm.
they like internalize their feelings.
Or like use the anger aspect, the Martian aspect of it, that, because it's like I've noticed like some people will get very angry, but underneath that anger is deep sadness or despair or grief. So in order to feel like they have control or they're in control of it or no one's coming after get them, or there's that anger, that kind of pushing away, that avoidance, that um, because it's just too much to feel, or don't want anybody else to know how vulnerable you are, how
Well,
much you feel.
that like when you were talking I mean those traits, if you want to look at like the Scorpio archetypes, like that's the trait of the Scorpion on the ground. Like just completely distrustful and fearful and combative, like fighting and warring with everybody around you just so that you don't allow anybody to get close to you so you can ultimately remain safe. Like that's just the Scorpion, but then you have the Eagle, which rises above and flies above and is still cautious. And then you have the Phoenix, which ultimately connects to that higher God force and acts as this like shamanic healing power to others.
Yeah, that is the Pluto eighth house, Scorpio energy, the shaman.
Hmm. Yeah.
you and to be able to
At,
do it even if it's just for yourself.
at the highest development, absolutely. And I feel like it was really helpful for me to be raised because I've been surrounded by Scorpios, and you know this. I say this to everybody. I'm like, my business partner's a Scorpio, my husband's a Scorpio, my son is a Scorpio, and my grandmother is a Scorpio. And I feel like my grandmother is who really taught me how to express because she was a Scorpio moon, like you too. I feel like she really taught me how to live that energy out in a way that was healthy, like not toxic.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean that's why we have the bad rep. I mean, I mean, but so does a bunch of other signs too, and their stuff's like, oh, Gemini, oh, that Leo, I mean, whatever, right? Virgo. But the unevolved Scorpion energy on the ground is freaking scary. That because there's such a disconnect from the heart. With Moon and Scorpio, you're gonna feel things, but one time years ago, someone told me, you know, it was this astrologer that I found online, and I forget what it was, but he was just basically saying, with my chart, you're really gonna feel. You can feel a lot. You're gonna feel it all. But if you're willing to feel all that, you're also willing. You're also able to feel the bliss. So
Hmm.
and so that's always been my thing. Like, okay, so this is a difficult time.
That is what I was going to say. And I was just saying this in our group chat for the hypnosis. But like, I've been super sentimental this week. And I'm like, I know this has to be this full moon because I'm never like this. Like, I'm never the kind of person to like cry out of nowhere or like, I just don't have like the sentimental aspect. I don't know if that's all my Capricorn or the sextile from my Saturn to my moon. I'm just not the kind of person to like cry at the drop of a hat. But this week, like I've been sentimental where I'm crying in a way that actually is kind of more like tapping into joy. Like I'm crying over like I was watching these videos where they were just doing like random acts of kindness for people, like paying for their groceries and stuff. And it was like making me cry. I'm like, this is so beautiful. But I was feeling that with as much intensity. Like you said, like you could feel the other emotions, obviously, heightened, but you can also feel all the good stuff in a vast way as well.
Yeah, when you allow yourself to be fully open, because when you know your power, you know your strength, and you're kind of with this, you can. you can deal with it. I mean, it may not be easy what you may be going through, but there is a way for you to process through it, to even embrace it. And if you could just even work on that, and it's like it opens up so much more, so that you can be really appreciative or in awe or in bliss, or really, like how you were touched by those videos. Like it's like a whole, for me, a whole body experience, of like that love that, when you feel or seeing other people happy, like you feel happy for that. I don't know, it's a very interesting thing when you allow yourself to be open to it all. And I think that's the possibility. And Scorpio energy has a bad rap. I mean, oh no, my progress moon's in Scorpio, oh no, the moon transit in Scorpio. It's like, yeah, there is that heaviness, and it is in the fall, but it does have that. But like the high side of that is the sacredness of life, of every moment, of making the most out of everything, and being able to fully be present and enjoy it, and have like the passion for life.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was weird when there was something that you were saying, and I thought about the polarity point between like Scorpio and Taurus. And I was like, that's interesting because, with this full moon, like obviously it's the sun in Taurus and the moon in Scorpio, but I actually know like quite a bit about that because my moon is opposite my Venus in Taurus. And so like I know how to do that balance. Like you have to do one or the other. You have to balance them out ultimately. Like you have to allow yourself to have as well as to allow yourself to desire. You have to tap into the personal power, into the deep, dark, murky waters of Scorpio, as well as feeling secure and rooted in the earth.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yeah, and that's what this energy is. And then we got the Uranus aspect to with full moon, right? so
Yes.
so
I was thinking about that. I was like, maybe that's a portion of the hyper emotionalism that I am feeling and potentially other people could be feeling in the coming days because these emotional bursts are going to be like chaotic. Like people are going to be thrust into like feeling deeply and probably transforming through certain emotions so that they can like move forward, ultimately evolve.
yeah, like unpredictable breakthroughs and changes,
Hmm.
when it comes to someone's values or resources or sense of security, and so this no longer serves me, and bam, it's something that you may have thought about or not, put a lot of thought in, or didn't know how. It's like suddenly, I'm assuming it's going to be clear, or at least there's things are going to happen where you have to face the shit, you know
Yeah, breakthrough energy. I love it. Well, you know what's cool about it though is that beyond those oppositions to the sun Uranus, like this full moon is in such beautiful shape. It is trine sextile the nodes. It is trine Saturn. Like that's a lot of good. Like we will have these breakthroughs. We will have these sudden bursts of emotion that do assist us in, like you said, shifting our beliefs and our values and our self-worth and all of that, as well as potentially changes with monetary resource related stuff too. But the cool thing is the trine sextiles, the nodes, that's making it faded and it's making it good faded. So it's like the things that are happening and the things that will be happening in the coming days, like it's pushing us forward ultimately in a very smooth way, even though the Uranus energy is a little bit chaotic.
Well, right. And I mean, and I think that's another thing when I was speaking back to the moon in Scorpio, or the Scorpio energy. A lot of the things that we have gone through that have been painful or difficult, that, needed, if you, depending on how you want to see it, but most things I would say, or I could say all things for me because I see everything as like a classroom, like they were necessary for growth. They
Oh,
were
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I had to let go of certain things because it wasn't for me. And the resistance, as much as if I resisted it or didn't let go, had that growth because it was there's that fixed energy, right? Like I don't want the change, but needing to learn how to allow it, to let it go, even if there is the resistance to letting it go. Eventually you see why you needed to let it go, or why it no longer served you, or it was not, it helped you to be who you needed to be now instead of who you were then, or what you thought, or blah blah, so even if these breakthroughs, if they're unexpected or unpredictable or even scary, you know, having some sort of awareness that, you know what, I this has happened, you know, there's something that I can grow from. I can use this to be stronger, or to know my strength, or to carry on, or do what I have to do regardless. You know, I don't know, it's just that's the kind of feeling I'm getting to.
Well, the really, I mean, this is like, this one's really hard for people, but it's the raw, raw truth in Scorpio energy. It is ruled by Pluto. Like, the more you resist that change, that transformation in your life, like, the uglier it gets. So, like, you go back to that bad habit or that bad, I don't know, emotional reaction that subconscious even potentially block because this is the moon. um, it gets uglier and uglier and harder for you to get away from it, until it like dissolves and destroys itself and just completely vomits the green goo all over your life.
Promise a green clue. Yeah, and then you don't, you know, project their stuff onto others or see it in others, or, you know,
Hmm.
got Neptune and Aries stuff too, you know. So um not being at war with others has a lot to do with whether you're at war with yourself, and there's that energy. And so, you know, kind of finding this there's strength and vulnerability, and being, you know, so vulnerable emotionally with the Scorpio moon energy, and so intensely, you know, there's
But it's the scariest thing, though, is allowing yourself to be entirely vulnerable because of all of the issues. Even like the most highest development of Scorpio, like, still has like a struggle with complete vulnerability, because if you're so transparent, if you're so open, like, you're unable to accomplish the task of like the shamanic healing purpose. Like, there has to be an allure of mystery regardless, be like some sort of element of secrecy still. um
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is interesting, even if it's not intentional secrecy, because I could talk to some friends and they'll, you know, Rachel, you haven't told me anything of what's going on with you. And I'm like, well, there's really nothing going on. I mean, you know, whatever. And it's like,
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Because it's not even like, it's the energy you give off. Like, it's not even intentional. It's just that's how you express. Like, and so people might think that something is up because you're not sharing, but it's not that. It's just that, like, you don't have anything to share today. But people can't
well,
read that. They can't read that because you
yeah,
have the mystery.
I'm not in the mood to talk about it. It's like I could be going through a whole bunch of stuff that are really difficult, but it's like I'm tired of talking about it or hearing myself talk about it. Or, you know what, at this moment I'm okay, so it's not worth talking about. Or, you know, yeah, I've accepted this is what it is. Some days are hard, some days are good, some moments are hard, you know, whatever. It's just I don't feel like talking about it. It's not because I want to be secretive. It's just, why do we need to bring it out? Like, what, you know, but if I need to talk, there's people that I could say, you know, do that, and I trust that they'll listen or they'll understand. But I don't feel like, if I already talked to two people about it, I don't want to talk to like three or four people about it.
That's so Saturn related, though. You know
Oh,
it. Well, but I relate to that too with all my Capricorn, because like, what's the point of talking about it if it's not doing anything? Like, we're not resolving anything. We're just talking. Like, what is this doing?
yeah, yeah, and it's like, and I don't want advice, and I don't want to anybody to tell me what to do about it, and I don't want, it's like, you know, unless I ask for it, right? It's like, you know, maybe I don't know, like with my growing up, like if something was going on, I didn't want them to know. Like, I didn't want my parents or anyone to know, my parents to know I was. So I hid from it, not because, you know, I just didn't want them to tell me how to handle it, or maybe I didn't know if
Well,
they knew.
yeah, because a lot of people with Scorpio energy, like, we get ourselves into really intense situations, and trying to explain that to a lot of people, it like scares the shit out of them. So there's
Right.
like, and then it's like, you'll freak people out, and then they'll try to offer you advice, and because they're like scared for you, and it's like, I'm fine. It's like that meme that I just posted about like, Googling something and getting the help hotline instead. Like,
Right.
this has happened to me so many times just because I have that like desire to know things. Like, I will ask Google like crazy questions, and of course I'm not like at threat for my life, or I don't have a drug addiction. I just want to know
Oh, that is Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah,
For
it's like,
no reason. Like it's just there's that desire to like understand the darkness of life and like so that if you are faced with somebody, that's how it is for me at least. If I'm faced with like a situation where somebody's in a very dark time, like I know more about their situation and I can offer them more assistance.
yeah, or just like to be able to hold space. Like, hey, I'm here. If you need me, if you want to talk, if you want to cry, if you want to go get ice cream, let me know.
Hmm.
Like, I understand, and I'm not going to reject you for how you feel. And I think Scorpio moons have been rejected for how they feel, and that's a deep wound that maybe in childhood, or not because their caregivers or whoever didn't love them, but they didn't know what to do with it. And so because of that, that has been like, well, why am I going to tell you if you don't know how? Or why do you
Oh
need
my
to know?
gosh, it is so weird as a Scorpio moon, being the mother of an eighth house moon child. And again, his moon is in like beautiful full shape. Like it really is. Like it's, I don't even know how, like if he was going to be an eighth house moon, like I'm happy that he has the trine to his Venus, the sextile to his Chiron, four trines to Capricorn energy. Like it's friggin' beautiful. But it's funny because there's people who will like respond to him having intense emotional experiences. And I'm like, he's fine. Just let him like get upset. Like he just needs to feel, and they look at me like I'm insane or like John's like dying or something, and I'm like, he's okay, he just needs to cry.
Right. Yeah. And that's a very healthy way of allowing. But I mean, come on, how many people know to do it? And so it's like, it's no, not they're
No, they don't, because and
not
I
that.
feel like with him, like I want to do that because I was told like not to overfeel things when I was younger. Like that was like, no, we can't feel that much. We'll disturb everyone.
Exactly. It's like, no, you need to be strong, Rachel. I'm like, what are you talking about? Crying is not being weak. Like, like that's something I've heard. And so, and again, it's not because it's bad, or it's just not knowing. So I think that's the thing with Scorpio moon, like you don't really want to talk about certain things. A lot of it's gauging how people are going to react. A lot of it's just you not feel like talking about it. A lot of it is just, you need to process it yourself, and you have to go through it and kind of decide.
Well, and that's it with the moon and fall. Like that's what I meant by we feel differently than others. Like a lot of other moon signs can receive that outside nurturing from others, but ours is in a large part internalized because we're the only ones that really know how to nurture that. So it's like there's not the ability as much to share with others when you're in the depths, in the throes of it, because it's on you and you're aware of that. And again, this isn't a bad thing, it's just reality.
Right, but also it's not to say that we don't want affection or to be cared for, or like I could say, I mean, of course I have moon ascendant, and so Taurus descendant, I would say probably having emotional like affection, or someone being there or feeding me, or just being, what I mean, or but there's also an intellectual, like, it's okay, I would, if I feel you can go there. If I've
Yeah,
assessed
yeah,
or
absolutely.
analyzed or paid enough attention to you or felt into you to know, can you meet me here? And not try to fix, or maybe not even know what to do, but can you have compassion for me? Or do you have so much dislike for your own pain and sorrow and grief that you reject mine?
Oh yeah. Well, and I feel like that's almost like, have you ever heard anybody say that Scorpio has this like tendency to test people? They like test people before they like get into a relationship with them. Like sometimes they'll even push people to like give something up for them. Like it's weird, but I've seen this play out with many different people. I don't know exactly what I would have asked people to give up, but I know that Scorpio individuals, I've experienced this with them wanting me to like release something, not like Scorpio Venus in particular. But no, I feel like that's like one of the tests though that we do put people through. If we're going to allow you into our like inner life, our inner world, like we want to know that you can at least 50% meet us there. Because we understand that 100 is a lot to expect. But like you have to be able to at least hear us, like, and not freak out and run away.
Right, exactly. Not judge it or say no, you shouldn't, or what's wrong with you, or blah blah blah. I mean, it's like the most emotionally unavailable guys I've ever been in relationships with were the most critical of my emotional states. Now, granted, there was some air energy in there, so Aquarius and all that. But I realized it's like because they were so out of touch with their own pain and their own grief and their own sorrow that they couldn't. It was hard for them to even. It's not like I'm one of those like people that need you to be aware of what's going on, but like if it comes out, like, are you gonna have compassion or are you gonna treat me like something's wrong with me?
Are you gonna act like I'm an alien?
Yeah, it's like yeah,
I was
exactly.
feeling very alien Uranian energy there.
Yeah, exactly right. So so that's really interesting. So it's not. I think that's where it helps with the polarity. I think looking at the polarities and balancing that. It's like heavy Scorpio energy. Let's get some Taurus energy in there. Okay, what help? What can you do? Can you take a bath? Could you get a hug? Could you bake yourself a cake? Well, not that I want to justify like eating our emotions away, but what I mean. Can you do? Can you go in the garden?
No, but I mean, it is though, because Taurus is like the sign of sensuality ultimately, like earthly sensuality, like all of the senses needing to be tantalized. And that is how you can like tame like Scorpio, is by tapping into the opposite sign, just like any other sign. Like that's how you tame, like if there's too much of it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what this opportunity is. So amidst the intensity and the instability and the unpredictability and the unknown, the breakthrough, of what is to come, of what is here for us, our growth and transformation, all that is available when we, are able to kind of be in that space of allowing.
I think there's nothing more beautiful though than like feeling safe
Yeah.
in yourself with somebody else. Like I have a couple of people in my life who I feel that safety with, and you're definitely one of them. Like I know that I could throw absolutely anything at you and it would not freak you out or anything. Like you would just be like, "Come on, I'm gonna get you some cookies."
Exactly. And then, tell you some dark humor stories to like, I mean, that's what I appreciate too, the ability to like go really dark and say the things that people would be like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you say it?" It's like, yeah. I feel like for instance, I'm gonna tell a funny story. I mean, I think it's funny. You tell me if it's dark. So years ago, like 10 years ago, I had a job where it was this cubicle job and it had like the freaking, the lighting was just the fluorescent lighting. And it had this humming, buzzing sound, and the job duties were repetitive. And it was these, reviewing these things. And like, it was just, and then you couldn't talk. If you talked, you got in trouble. And of course, I'm very talkative. And then people would come to my desk all the time because I had all these remedies. Like, and so they'd be like, "Oh, Rachel, I have."
You're the witch doctor.
Yeah, and I'd have like my essential peppermint oil. I'm like, "Okay, let's get some hot water and then inhale it for your out," stuff like that. And so I'd get in trouble all the time, but it was just like this feeling of dread. And my life also had this feeling of, whatever. So like me and my close friend, we would joke about how we're gonna like tie a rope around the vending machine and then push the vending machine out the window with us just so we could see how. I mean, weird, dark things like that. And it wasn't like we're actually going to do that, but we're joking about it. And to be able to be that honest about how it feels like that, not that we would actually do that. Some people like, "Oh my God, why would you say that?" And others would be like,
Well, I feel like we stepped into such a different time now too, that people are so concerned with political correctness that Scorpio energy is like really potentially struggling like a little bit with some things, because we do have dark senses of humor. Like we have to. We've seen a lot of dark shit.
Right, exactly. It's like humor is the way to get through some things,
Well, yeah, it's like they say comedians like have like really dark pasts. Like the humor is what you need to survive.
Well, the humor, I mean, some of the most spiritually advanced beings had a brilliant sense of humor. Like, there's even, say that there's like, I study A Course in Miracles, and, some of the teachers of the Course, talk about how Jesus had a brilliant sense of humor. And I mean, do we actually know for sure? No, but what's the difference? I say he had a
Well,
wonderful sense
you
of
know what?
humor.
My mom has a like a Scorpio stellium. She's a Sagittarius. That's so of course that's the influence of my Scorpio moon. But my mom always used to like push the emphasis that like you have to be able to laugh. Laugh at yourself, laugh at life. Like it's important. And as I've gotten older, like I really understand that because it forces you to not take shit so seriously.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
you can't take this life so seriously. We're all just actors on a play. This is Rachel's line. I'm repeating it for her before she says
The
it.
world is a stage, we are merely players. Yeah, so exactly. Like, so yes, the dark humor, it's not for everybody, but it's funny because you're laughing at the things that are really scary. And it's not that you're dismissing them or that's, making fun of it or anything. It's just it's like, yeah, it's pretty freaking scary.
But
Yeah.
it's like, well, Scorpio, like I said though, Scorpio energy does have this tendency to get themselves into situations that are really scary. And so you have to be able to do that so that when you find yourself in those places, you can like survive through them.
I laughed my way through hell. Yeah, exactly. Like there has been some freaking scary things that have happened. I'm like, oh my god, like how? And I mean, I've, and it is that, because if not, you become bitter. And
I was just talking to somebody. This is not that scary, but I was just talking to somebody in a session the other night about how my grandmother was a Scorpio. This is very ironic. I feel like it's like super metaphorical. Lived in Arizona, and when I was like a little kid, I was taking a bath in her bathtub, and I like look over and there's a scorpion in the bathtub. It was a little scorpion, but I grabbed this scorpion with my hand, picked it up, and I threw it in the toilet and I flushed the toilet. And I'm like, as a kid, you don't realize like the danger in certain situations. Like I had no idea. It could have been poisonous. Who knows? I still don't know to this day.
well, didn't get you then. I mean, you acted quickly like that. I mean,
But
yeah,
that's the kind of thing that we experience, though. It's like, who knows? Like, that thing could have been like super poisonous and I could have been putting myself in danger. But Scorpio has this tendency to be in these like life or death situations, literally, and to just like not even bat an eye.
not even bad at eye. Or yeah, or at least
Realize it.
yeah, or be through and be like, well, I have no other choice. It's survive. I got to do what I got to do, or I got to be here. Or I got to, or
That shit'll buff out.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the hypnosis. Let me ask. So, would you like to introduce the hypnosis that I recorded and you masterfully edited with the music?
Oh my gosh, that hypnosis was so beautiful. Like, we haven't, this literally was, this was like the part of the sentimental energy that I've been feeling, but like, I made it through editing that and I was just like, we haven't done this in so long. And like, this is so beautiful. Like, the world needs to hear this. Like, I loved that you added regression as well as soul retrieval. I loved everything about it. Like, it was just it was a masterpiece.
A little hodgepodge of little things. We got some guidance, got some ancestors, got whip life, got, did a little trying to see if there's anything that soul retrieval from other lifetimes, a lot of other stuff. But there was a cool feeling of a presence, like a loving presence.
The essence of it, which is what I found to be the most beautiful, was being able to tap into themes specifically involving fear that might be holding you back in the here and now from where you need to be, essentially things that might not be of this present time. And I feel like that's the moon in Scorpio on a subconscious level. The moon is literally subconscious emotional energy.
Yeah.
And with the nodal stuff, like this was the perfect time to do regression because we're going back to the past and we're moving forward towards the future and we're being assisted by that.
And we're tapping into our power and our strength and our ability to feel and to let go, to release and to transform, because that's the whole, purpose is
And to feel safe in this physical reality, feel rooted and grounded in this physical reality and where we are headed, especially with Uranus's impact.
That's
yeah. It was a lot, but it was beautiful. And like, I can't wait to do it on Saturday myself. And I can't wait for the people who are joining us to get the opportunity to, because it was really, really good.
Well, I'm excited. I love hearing, for those that share their experiences or what they saw, or just even if it made them feel good, or whatever it is. I enjoy it. So I don't listen to my own recording. I just kind of monitor the chat, but so this is a raffle event that we're doing. So by entering, by paying, for this full moon in Scorpio hypnosis, you're getting entered into a raffle. And Lydia, can you please tell them what they will be getting in this raffle?
Oh my gosh, this is the coolest idea that we ever had, I feel like, is incorporating raffles into these events because Rachel and I have had incredibly beautiful experiences with everybody that we've worked with one-on-one doing regression. And so now we're giving people the opportunity to win that just by buying a ticket to our events. And we conduct those on Zoom. These like sessions are not for the faint of heart. Like I feel like I should be saying that. Like you're going to go deep. There has to be an element of trust in that, definitely. But they're long too. Like these are around like 2 hours as opposed to 1 hour. There isn't a time frame. I mean, it's all about how long it takes you and when we come out. But these are long sessions as well, and they're recorded, so you get a copy. She's an incredible regressionist. I said this the last time. Like, I decided to work with Rachel due to experiencing Rachel myself. And I can't wait for people to get that opportunity. And I can't wait to see who wins.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And it's cool because it doesn't have to be a past life regression. It could be inner child work. It could be soul retrieval. It could be mediumship. It could be connecting with your spirit guides. It could be connecting. It could be focusing on an aspect of your chart that you're not. I have Venus and Scorpio. Let's connect to some lifetime, some themes. What am I learning? What is the purpose? Let's do it in between life session. Let's do. It's like I love hypnosis because it's allows you to go there. There is an element of trust, but all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So basically, it's a deeper form of meditation. You're completely in control. I'll ask the questions, and we'll give it a shot. But a lot of it has to do with just allowing yourself to not judge the process, judge your experience, and just not have any expectations of how it should look. I mean, some people are more visual, some people are more emotional, some people won't get it through insights or flashes or whatever it is. But it's flexible, but it's really cool. And then to be able to speak about it afterwards, and then for Lydia to share the whatever astrologically is relevant is really amazing to see.
Oh, yeah, because I probably should have added that part too. Like, yes, Rachel is the hypnotherapist, but we work in partnerships. So you're not just getting hypnotherapy, you're also getting astrology as well. I'm connecting your chart, I'm taking notes while you are under, I'm there with you too. I'm looking at various different charts. I really like to look at, I don't know, just a lot of different things when it comes to these sessions and incorporate many different modalities of interpretation. But yes, it's an incredibly cool experience. And I think this is such a good idea for us to be adding the raffle into it all because I want you and I to be working more one-on-one with people. That's where the magic really is.
Yeah, because this is a recording.
It's personalized, yeah.
Right, exactly. This is a recording. Everybody plays it at the same time. On the WhatsApp chat, it's like, okay, you downloaded it to your phone because you didn't leave it on Dropbox. Because if you leave it on Dropbox, halfway through it stops, and then it stops your hypnosis. So you followed the instructions and you downloaded it, and then you started it at the same time. And then afterwards, everybody kind of texts on the chat, WhatsApp chat. But in the individual sessions, it's asking questions. It's kind of, because it's an intuitive, I don't follow scripts. It's kind of being guided to where we need to go, or based on how you respond, or I've had sessions with people where they transform. We started off with a past life, but it ended up being mediumship, or so it's
there
fluid.
are no rules. There are no rules. This is about wherever your subconscious mind decides to take us.
Yeah, and its whole purpose is for healing, for transformation, self-healing, transformation, making sure that you feel safe, knowing that you're safe, that you're protected. Little bubbles of light, and the intention is there for protection, and I do feel that that's everything. And we've had some amazing experiences. I just love hearing people's experiences. Like, it just makes me happy to like have somebody have an awareness or experience or understanding, or someone passed away, and to be able to have a conversation with them through hypnosis, like you're your own medium. I don't know, it's amazing.
Our minds are capable of so much. And that's like, I feel like, if anything, working with you for as long as I have, as well as like working with you one on one, like that's what you really brought me. And I know that's what you bring other people, is this awareness of just how much we are capable of as human beings.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way working with you, and that because um there was a lot more in the beginning when I started doing hypnosis. Like, oh, I hope I do a good job, or hope But now there's a trust of like, no, even with our recordings, it took a bit to feel comfortable, like whatever visions or images were coming to my mind while I'm speaking out the hypnosis. We've done it enough to where I trust that now. It's like, yeah, I trust that I'll get in my own meditative space, start talking or recording. We have our themes of kind of things we want to focus on, but the way it comes together, I have no idea until I start talking. And that
Do you remember them after you record them?
sometimes, I mean, like, I don't remember certain specific things I've said. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it's like,
that's how I always know if somebody's channeling. Like, because that's how it is for me when I do recorded work, especially. Or, I mean, even in live sessions, people will be like, you told me this at this point, and I'm like, I don't remember that, but I believe it.
so,
I
yeah,
believe that happened.
yeah. And I think it's like, it's images, like, it's like I'm taken to a place in my mind, so I'm seeing it. So it's like I have memory of the images I saw in my head, but I don't really know everything or a lot of what I said.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, this one's cool. I can't wait to see. First of all, with the raffle, see who wins, and then also just hear about everybody's experiences. And we got this full moon in Scorpio. It'll be intense, but it's good for us. It's the nourishment, nutrients that the soil.
Everybody needs a little bit of death in order to be reborn.
Death is a part of life. Why do we need to run away from it?
Well, that's why Scorpio people can laugh about it, certain things that are really dark, because we completely fully accept that as well. That like all things must end so that new things can begin.
Yeah, and it's a process, and yeah. So excited! Please join us if you'd like to have the experience. We will be here as a support we'll be there as a support on the WhatsApp, and then of course, hoping we have some people participate for the raffle, and excited for that too. So thank you for listening to us tonight.
Yes, thank you guys. We love you. And Scorpios, I was serious. If it's done and it's over with if you don't come to this event. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but I really do want you to be there because Scorpios are my favorite people, and I say that until I'm blue in the face and I'm like the biggest advocate for Scorpio energy that exists out there. Okay, we love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.